My name's Justin Taylor. I'm one of the owners and the head coach for Firestorm Freerunning Acrobatics in Santa Ana, California. And as for how the whole thing came to be, for me it started when I was 6 and I took a couple of gymnastics classes and immediately fell in love with the idea of being a ninja and flipping off things. I got my first job coaching when I was 14 at a real gymnastics gym, and then kind of just kept on coaching all throughout high school. And about 5 years ago, when I was finishing my engineering degree, was when I discovered parkour. And I realized I was gonna have to go out and work in a cubicle and get a real job. And I was not very excited for that. And I didn't really know where I was gonna go with my life. But I really enjoyed coaching, and I realized that that's really what I wanted to do. So I started a small program at the gymnastics gym I was working at. It went over really well and the kids really seemed to enjoy it. And over the course of 2.5 years, we finally got the funding together and all the permits and everything necessary. And we opened up this place. Like in any kind of sport, like if you play football, sooner or later the big person is going to tackle you. In parkour and freerunning, you know, just like in anything else, accidents do happen, and sometimes you have injuries and you take them in stride and you learn from them. The biggest one that I've ever had was 14 months ago. For those of you that speak the language, I was doing a cache over an 8-foot gap, basically a really big vault, and when I came out I went split step into a round off layout double full, which is a gymnastics tumbling pass, and I landed at a really bad angle and I snapped both of my ankles and I severed completely in half both of my Achilles tendons. So that landed me with 3 leg surgeries, 3 months of laying in a bed with a cast on each leg. The entire time I was in a wheelchair, and then about a month and a half of crutches, and then about 6 months of physical therapy before I could actually walk like a normal human being again. We started the project of trying to start this gym about a 1.5 years before the accident happened. And we were just getting to the point where we were getting our funding and able to start looking for any kind of building where we could build the gym and get all the appropriate permits. And then this happened. And we were really worried that it would stop the entire project, but we found, you know, ways to work through it. The entire time I was laying in bed, I was on the computer doing paperwork. And then the first 4 or 5 places that we went to visit, it was really funny when we'd show up because we'd get there, we'd meet the agent, the listing agent for the place. I would, get lifted out of my chair by Steve and put in my wheelchair, and then we'd roll up, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, this is different." And they'd be like, "Nice to meet you." And they'd be like, "So what are you here for?" They're like, "Oh, we teach parkour and freerunning." And they'd look at me in the wheelchair and they'd look really confused, and they'd be like, "Well, what do you do?" And I'm like, "I'm the coach." So one of the things I really like about these type of gyms and these types of groups is that it brings in people from all different types of backgrounds. So we get some people that come in, they just have seen YouTube videos or they've seen things in the movies and they're just like, "That looks cool, I'm interested in learning that," and they have absolutely no background at all. Sometimes we get people from just about any sport you can think of. Gymnasts and martial artists make the transition very well because both of those sports have a lot of understanding of your body and your environment and how, when you act, how things react to you and how your body reacts to different movements. We get aerialists, we get circus people. A couple weeks ago we had a unicyclist come in here. We get people that do magic. I mean, you get a little bit of everything, people that kind of come together because they just like doing things that move and are different and trying to find new ways to break boundaries and stuff.
I like free climbing because I like it. I like free running because I get to learn flips and other cool things.
I hope to learn a lot more in free running and parkour so then I could maybe be like a world champion or something.
Hello, camera. You're gonna see me in some short shorts in just a second. I'm Richard. Everybody calls me Freelove. I work here at Firestorm. I'm one of the coaches, and I love this gym. I was here when we first bought the building, and we built it from the ground up and designed everything that's in it and rolled everything out, everything that you see here before you. When I was offered a position to coach, I took it right away, and I didn't know how it would do. Having all of these kids look up to me and asking me these questions and expecting me to have the answers, and after practicing and training for years and having to, teach my friends and train with them, I knew the questions, I had the answers, so it was really easy. And being able to inform these kids and teach them and work with them is what I really like about being a coach, because I know that they're not just at home playing video games They're not just sitting on a couch somewhere, like vegetating, watching TV. They're up, they're out, they're active, they're climbing, they're running, they're jumping. They're doing what kids should be doing.
I'm Sterling 7 Holloway, and I coach parkour, freerunning, and tricking here at Firestorm Freerunning Acrobatics. Since I was a little kid, I'd seen Jackie Chan, and he was one of the first impressive things I'd ever seen, and so I always studied like as much as I could on Chinese martial arts, but could never really afford lessons, so a lot of it was research I could do on my own, or read, or find friends who had trained, or anything like that. And a lot of this changed when I got into high school, and I met my best friend, Johnny Nguyen. He started taking me to gymnastics gyms, and he'd been doing Taekwondo his whole life since he was about 4 years old. So he introduced me to actually how to train martial arts and how to actually be able to practice all of these things. And I fell in love with it. It actually allowed me to do what I wanted to do with my body. I personally feel that training all of these different movements, parkour, freerunning, tricking, dance even, I don't dance, but all of it is a big family. And it allows us to use our body to the fullest potential or the maximum potential that we can actually get out of it, because the human body is capable of so much. Every single person who has an able body can do so many things with it that they don't even realize. And so if you're able to expose that and bring it out of yourself, that's just a great thing. And that's what I really enjoy about it. And that's why I love coaching. And that's why I love teaching it to people.
It's an interesting question, what are your hopes and dreams? Because, you know, when I was younger, it was something very different than what it is now. And I'm sure as I get older, it'll continue to change. But at this point in time, I've realized that one of the things that brings me the most amount of joy and is one of the most unique and best things about my life is when somebody walks through the door and says, you know, this is really cool, but I could never do this, or I have this limitation and that's why I can't do this kind of thing. And when you can actually show somebody that they're not only can they do what they think they can't do, what they can't do, but they can do so much more and they're so much more physically capable than they think they are, it's a really unique thing. And for me, my goal really is to try piece by piece to change the way that people think of themselves and what they're capable of doing and how they interact with the world around them.
I'm not just some crazy person, that I actually know what I'm doing. So I guess you could say that my dream is that it would be recognized, that people would recognize that I know what I'm doing, that they recognize those movements and they see it as more than just, you know, some kid climbing on something. It's him not doing drugs, it's him not being a part of a gang, it's him not, you know, whatever it is, that it's an outlet and it's a hobby, and for some people it's taken like as a serious discipline and more than just this personal art form. And I want people to understand that and know that.